I think you see among the promoted sides that it's such a mountain to climb to stay in the Premier League. 5 games before the end, 2 teams are definitely relegated and 1 is 15 points behind with 5 games to play. It says something on the difficulty when you get up to compete, especially in this moment where we, of course, were that far behind that you never give up, but you see it coming.
Guys, well played. Trent, you have been a great Liverpool player. Was that one of your best moments in the red shirt?
For sure. I think I've had some good moments in the stadium, to be honest. Scored a few goals, yeah. But no, I think being so close to winning the title now, yeah, I think my first game back from injury as well, it was an important game for me. I was excited to be back. I put in a lot of hard work over the last few weeks to get back fit. And I'm eager to play, and I was happy to contribute with the goal. It was a big one.
You say you've had some great moments in the stadium. I'm picturing 2019. You stood there, very similar in front of the Liverpool fans.
Yeah, very similar indeed. And I'm pretty sure that's my first left foot goal in my career as well. So it's taken a few years, but got there in the end.
Do you know, they texted me that. The stats department, but I couldn't believe that. But you obviously knew straight away.
Yeah, that's probably the one type of goal I've been missing. But no, I saved it for the right time. Being so close to win the league now, I think it's one win away now. Very close, and to do it, especially with fans here as well, is a very, very special moment.
Alexis, you just stood there with a big grin on your face, which I guess tells us a lot.
Yeah, of course, really happy, not just for the team, but for Trent. He's been working really, really hard to come back. So this is a present for him. I hope he can enjoy it with these amazing fans. I'm pretty sure he deserves it.
Yeah. What did it mean to have, well, a couple of moments actually with the Liverpool fans as you charged towards them when you scored? And I just noticed at the end there, I think it was Virgil just shoved you forward to take the applause.
Yeah, of course. I think he's pushed me to the front to soak it in. Get up close and personal. The way fans are always amazing. The fans have been outstanding again this season. They pushed us every game into the final minutes, and they've done that again today. And they've helped us win the game. You can still hear them now all there celebrating. As much as we do it for ourselves and do it for our families, we do it for the fans as well. They're the ones that travel to games, spend the money to come watch us play. So at the least they deserve is to see us give 100% on the pitch and win games, and to be so close to sealing for some of us a second league title, and for a lot of us a first league title, but especially in front of fans, which is what we've been missing, is very special.
Listen, there's one more burning question. You know it's coming. I don't know if you can give an answer. How many special moments left for you in the Liverpool shirt?
Look, obviously, like I've said all season, I'm not going to speak on my situation. I'm not going to go into details, but these days like today are always special. Scoring goals, playing, winning games, being close to winning titles as well, being in title races. The special moments that will live with me forever, and I'm glad to be a part of them.
Well said. Can you do one more job for us? Player of the match, Alexis.
Deserved.
I don't know if I deserve it, but the most important thing is the win and that this guy scored.
Well said.
Thank you.
Well, that was really interesting and well spoken from Trent Alexander-Arnold. The thing that struck me there, Michael, when he said I've worked so hard to get back fit and eager to play, do you think there was a moment a few weeks ago he actually at the back of his mind might have thought, I might have played my last game for this club?
Possibly. I mean, if he is going, which most people tend to think he is, then he possibly did think that, yeah, and that would have been a shame. You want to go out with the bang.
But the reaction when he scored kind of told you that, didn't it?
Yeah, there was more in it, wasn't there? The celebration was full of energy, full of relief, full of emotion. So yeah, you get that feeling that he wanted a big send-off, if that's going to happen, and now he's back in a red shirt. He scored the winning goal today. He'll feel like that's really important to him, because he wants, when you've done all this, to go off on a negative or on a, not playing or being injured or whatever, then it almost taints everything that you've done before. I've seen it so many times when players have had such a great career somewhere, but then they don't finish it off well. Maybe the last game or the last few games or whatever happens, and it's just sad because it's almost like a lasting impression when it shouldn't be. So I think from his point of view, he'll be pretty relieved.
You see, when he got injured, and I've got injuries like his, if you got an injury, when you first get it, you think this could be 2 months. Obviously, when things settle down and you know it's only going to be a week, then it's fine. But the initial thought, particularly with the injury like he got, is I may not play again this season. And if he knows he's going, you can see how much it meant to him to score today. But what I've said all along for these Liverpool players, and for footballers generally, is that, yes, they may go, their contracts may run out. But if you look at what Fabinho, Henderson, Milner, until the final day, they gave 100%. And that's all you can ask. If he's going to go, the fans should still support him because he's giving 100% for Liverpool Football Club until the final day. And that's all you can ask for any player. You can't hold it against him if he wants to go to try something new. We don't really know. But if he was still here and not giving 100%, that is when you can have a go at him. But he gives 100% all the time. So I have no issue with him if he's going to go at the end. As long as between now and the end of the season, he gives 100%.
I'm not quite happy with his celebration, to be honest with you. That to the fans, scoring with your left foot, rings a bell or two, to be honest with you.
You didn't take the shirt off, did you?
I didn't take my shirt off. I ain't got a body like his. But, no, it kind of rung a bell, and it's meant to be, I think, a little bit. How he drifted into that position and smashed it with his left foot. First goal of the season, it's kind of meant to be.
And in terms of what you're saying about till the end of the season, not just him, but Salah and Van Dijk, it hasn't affected them one iota, has it? And in fairness to Trent, as the local boy, there's probably been more talk about him than the other two.
But if you look at the way that, as I said, Firmino and Henderson and Milner, what they did is that the culture at Liverpool is to give 100%, regardless of the noise that's going on around whether you're going to sign a contract or not, which is the right way to be. So, as you rightly say, we don't know whether he's going to come or not. Go or not. However, while you're at this football club, you give 100%, which is what he's done. I think he's going to go. I think we know he's going to go. But as long as, and unfortunately for him, it looks like we've won the league. Had this been going on and the league was tight and the harmony or this unity wasn't there and there's these question marks and fans weren't particularly happy. So I think the way it's actually worked out, the fact that we really have won the league has taken a lot of the pressure off his situation.
But when someone waves that white shirt of Real Madrid when you're a Liverpool player, it's very difficult to get your mind into game.
Well,
keep going, mate, keep going.
Well, there was an opportunity for a player to go to Real Madrid and wave the white shirt, but he didn't.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's why I was throwing that one in there.
So not all of us will. Some of us can resist it.
So we've got one there who turned it down and one who couldn't resist. I
would never go because the Arsenal's the biggest club in the world, mate. So there you go.
You're no good in white anyway, except England white.
Absolutely.
When he came on, 5.5 minutes later, he scored. Arne Slot said before the game he's probably got 20 minutes in him. I mean, he couldn't have dreamt of this type of introduction, could he?
No, he couldn't. I mean, I thought Arne Slot was going to make a few substitutions, actually. I thought both full-backs could come on, Andy Robertson and Trent. But this is the goal, and he's actually not even in shot. He drifts into this left-hand side position. Samawe there, I mean, he does all he can. His back to the goal. He tries to head it away in a safe area. But look, he's not even in shot here. And he just drifts into a position that he thinks, you know what, the ball might just land here. How Liverpool didn't score before that is unbelievable. Hitting the woodwork twice. And the goalkeeper, maybe, will be disappointed. It's a lovely strike from him. He just senses it, doesn't he? He just drifts into an area where he thinks it might just drop here, and then bang, great strike.
Fantastic strike. The keeper should have had it, but it's a great strike with his left foot. Not as easy as it looked, particularly on his weaker foot, because he's actually coming away from it. The ball's going away from him, so he has to kind of like run around it on his weaker foot. So it was a good strike. Keeper would be disappointed. Mo really should have scored. They're complaining about a head injury, so the game should have been stopped. But once you don't stop the game, you can't go back to that.
They were right in their luck, John, weren't they? Let's be honest with you, 30 opportunities.
Yeah, we had enough opportunity to score.
And it's eventually he's sealed it for him. And a fantastic reaction, and that's what football's about. But keep the shirt on.
There's a bit more in that celebration, and it was a landmark day as well. 350 games for Liverpool, 23 goals, 22 with his right foot on his first today, with his left, 6 honours. He's won everything there is to win at Liverpool Football Club. What when that adrenaline runs today over to those away fans, what do you think might have been that sort of out-of-body experience for him?
Well, you could see it was a little bit different, and there's no hiding it. He's been taking a little bit of stick from his own fans, from the press, from people in general. Everybody's debating, whether what he's doing is right or wrong and everything else like that. and there's no way you can avoid it as a professional footballer. And half the time you can shrug it off, but sometimes if you're getting a little bit of stick from your own people, then that can cut deep. And I have a sneaky feeling that hurt him a little bit today, and to score a goal and to run into, in front of his own fans and let that frustration, let that happiness, let that joy, let that relief all out, then you could see that meant plenty to him today. So it was.
I don't think they're going to miss him. I think Conor Bradley... No, what? I don't think they're going to miss him. I think Conor Bradley's going to get better and better, and they're going to bring in more players, and they're going to be a force next season. They've got so many quality players. Of course, that quality comes in and wins you games like this, but I think Conor Bradley's going to be the real thing, He's going to get stronger, he's going to get better, and, I think the reason that they've had the alternative this season is why they've gone to the top of the table. Arsenal haven't had that luxury. We've had kind of injuries and stuff that's caused us a problem, and then you've got people like Trent that comes in and gets goals like that. That's where you win titles.
I agree with Tom to a certain extent in terms of Liverpool will play in a different way. So what happens is he's very creative. Conor Bradley probably defends better, so therefore we're not going to have Conor Bradley trying to play like Trent, but maybe we will defend better and he'll be in an orthodox right back position. I think that will actually help Mo, because sometimes when Trent goes wandering into midfield, Mo's isolated 2 against 1, where it's Conor Bradley playing with Mo. So I don't think that Conor Bradley will replace him in the same way, but I think we'll have creativity from others. So
when Tony says they won't miss him, obviously
in terms of winning games and stuff like that.
But there's not many people who can pass the ball like Trent Alexander-Arnold in that position, is there?
Well, no, but of course, there are people who can do other things. So therefore, we will miss that creativity, but we're still going to score goals and create chances in different ways. So we may miss him on the ball, but you can't say that your right back if your right back's going to be your most creative player.
No, but if you asked Richard Hughes now, would you like to sign Trent Alexander-Arnold next season?
Of course, Liverpool are going to miss him. But I think Tony's right in a way. If you cannot replace Virgil van Dijk, he's just so good. There's nobody out there. You can't replace Mo Salah. He's the best in the world at what he does in his position.
Yeah, those two are the necessary ones.
They couldn't be replaced. You can make an argument, as Tony's trying to make, that. Do you know what? You can replace Trent. Might be with a different type, but you can replace him. And there's one that's young, that's bursting with energy, that's at the club already, that needs to be given more time.
And
you know what?
He's going to be different to Trent. I don't expect him to do what Trent does, but he will do other things.
And if you ask a few Liverpool fans, maybe, I don't know, a few months ago, Conor Bradley was coming into the team. He was absolutely brilliant. And lots of people were saying, even when Trent gets back fit, he should be starting. He's playing that well. Yeah. So that just goes to show you would never say that. If Virgil van Dijk's fit, he plays. Yeah. Mo Salah's fit, he plays. But a lot of people were thinking, hey, give him, let Conor Bradley play if he's playing that way. So it's going to be a miss. There's no right back in the world that can do what Trent can do. But I think it's the lesser of the evils. If the two are going to stay, I think Liverpool fans would want Mo and Van Dijk ahead of Trent.
There was that iconic night with the tackle on Mbappe, wasn't there, for Conor Bradley?
Yeah.
Against Real Madrid.
Of course,
that's when that type of talk was happening.
As we said, we're not expecting Conor to do what Trent does, but of course, there are times when Trent gets caught out defensively, and whereas Conor won't as much. So football is also about defending, as Tony will tell you. I think that we've gone so far the other way to looking to be creative at the back, where our centre-backs have to be able to play, our full-backs have to be able to play. And when they don't defend, which is why teams like Ipswich and Southampton, they want to play out from the back, they're good on the ball, but they can't defend. And Conor Bradley's a bit of a throwback to being a good defender. He's good coming forward as well, creating chances. Not like Trent, but I think the balance that he has is okay for Liverpool.
I'm glad you agree with me, guys.
Sort of.
Sort of. But
I do defend.
I think Liverpool's not won the league for the last couple of years.
Wait till I text Lee Dixon and say it was just the right back. Then your phone will start buzzing.
I think he's struggled defensively in the last couple of years, Trent, and Liverpool have. They've conceded goals down that left channel, the right back channel that he defends against, and there's been question marks around his defending. And this season he's set to step in more, and he's been more creative. And the managers, when he's played him, he's allowed him to go into that midfield role and start to spray balls, because he's a talent. He's a fantastic.
But with Jurgen, because obviously the way Jurgen played with his 3 midfield players, who were like Henderson, Milner, Wijnaldum, Fabinho, they're not going to be creative. So we needed that from Trent. The way Arne Slot plays, he wants creativity in midfield. Right. So if you get the creativity of the 3 midfield players, you don't need a right back to do that. So therefore, I think that with Arne Slot there, if Jurgen was here, I think it was much more important to keep Trent. When he had players like Endo and people like that who are just going to be hard-working midfield players. But I think with Arne Slot, he's looking to get more creativity in midfield and more stability in the right-back position.
That's a really good point, isn't it?
Look at Gravenberch.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as well, under Arne Slot, he's not been playing in that, that inverted. Under Klopp, he was always in the central midfield. Now he plays more like a right back. So, having an orthodox right back in Conor Bradley to replace him, if that's going to happen. Listen, we go back to it. It is, you'd prefer Trent in your squad. Absolutely. I mean, he's just come on and won the game. He's got some things that are different to everyone else. But it's not the end of it. It would have been a disaster if Virgil and Mo hadn't signed. But I think give Conor Bradley his due now, because he's been bursting to get into that red shirt and probably deserves a bigger chance now. OK, and of course he's already captained his country, Northern Ireland. Now, on the subject of fullbacks, we can go back to the King Power now, because Kostas Tsimikas has joined Manish and Emil.
Well, as you can see, we've been joined by Kostas Tsimikas. Kostas, well done today. 3 points away from the title. You're almost there.
Of course, we're almost there. I think we showed from the first minute to the last. We want it the most. I think, as you say, one big final in our road. We want to win the league, so we just show exactly today, and we'll show this exactly in the next game.
In the end, you had 28 shots on goal. Was it all about patience this afternoon?
Yeah, of course, it's patient. You build. You just put the seeds, inside the ground, and you just wait. So that's what we did. We just build, and at the end, we are very happy we scored the goal and we won the game.
Trent off the bench and coming good with a big goal.
Yeah, what a player! I don't want to speak, how good player he is, and especially more as a human being is exceptional lad. I love him so much. I think he deserves it, because all this time he was out. He worked very hard to be back, to be in this shape, and to score a winning goal.
Did you notice anything different about his goal, though?
No, I think he scored before, better goals.
No,
if you mean that.
That was his first ever goal with his left foot.
Wow, no.
You've been teaching him.
No, because I don't score, Yeah. I didn't expect that,
Does he show that in training?
Yeah, his left is top level.
It is.
Like the right one, so yeah, I'm very happy for him.
Yeah.
The tempo seemed like you stepped the tempo up in the second half. Was that something that the manager spoke about in the dressing room at half time?
Yeah, of course. I think we created a lot in the first half, but when we came inside, he said to us, if we want to win the game, we have to give something more, to put the tempo more high, and to create more chances, and the goal it will come for sure.
Finally, Kostas, and while it wasn't meant to happen for Liverpool today, in many ways, do you prefer for it to happen in front of your own fans? You got Spurs next at Anfield.
Yeah, of course. It's I think that's even more, give us extra boost. What we need for the next game. We want to celebrate with all the fans at Anfield. For sure, we'll be on fire. So yeah, I'm really excited to see and to celebrate all together.
I bet you just can't wait to wrap it up now, right?
Yeah, of course. This every week now we play, because normally we play every Wednesday and Saturday or Sunday. Always when you play week, for example, Sunday and Sunday is very big for us.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't wait. First of all, I want to recover fast, to train as hard as I can, and to be ready for the next game.
Well played today. Great to see you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Post-match reaction from Kostas Tsimikas.
Thank you very much.
Jens, thank you. Congratulations to him and all the Liverpool players today. So, Tony Adams, to make this wonderful script for television, for Liverpool and their fans, we need Arsenal to win on Wednesday against Crystal Palace.
Absolutely, not a problem. Without doubt, again, like I said today.
You did say that today.
I did say that today. And, Crystal Palace got the FA Cup round the corner. Arsenal, hopefully Arteta plays his strongest team again and gets the job done. I don't want to see no rotation at this point. Do the job, get out there, put your best team out there, get the job done, then take them off and give them a rest once they've got the goals. And I don't think it's out doubt, but then you've got Liverpool against Tottenham and everyone beats Spurs. Come on, let's be honest.
I'll set you up for that one. But I suppose, I don't know, in the unlikely event Palace win on Wednesday, do the boys have to get together at the golf club again and watch the game just in case and have the champagne on ice? Or?
I didn't think there was a doubt about today. I'm not as sure against Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace have got good players. They've got a good team. They create chances. They go forward. They're well organised. It's not going to be as easy. Yes, I think they will win. But today I was very confident in Arsenal winning. And if it means Arsenal losing, I would take that all day long. I mean, you had Tsimikas saying that, yes, we won't lose in front of our fans. But if you ask anybody, they would much rather Arsenal have lost than they won the league today. It's great to then say, yes, we won't in front of our own fans.
I suppose
you win when you have the opportunity.
Yeah.
So, come on, Crystal Palace.
Depends how many you've won. If you've not won any, you just want to win one.
You've only won one.
But then the other side of the story is you celebrate at the golf club on Wednesday and you run out at Anfield on Sunday in front of your own supporters as Premier League champions.
What a lovely problem. When you win it, where you win it, what day you win it, what day of the week.
You can be relaxed when you run out. Running out there under pressure to have to beat Tottenham, who are good side on their day.
Did you ever have that with any of yours?
Yes, we did. Man United go very kindly give us a...
That's right, the Guard of Honour. Yeah. So where were you when it was won without kicking a ball? And were you all together?
Oh, the Man United one, when we sent our reserves up to beat Man United again. I was sitting in my hotel room on my own, really, when the boys... We sent them reserves up there, Martin Guerin and stuff. Kill me, wouldn't
Steady. We're with him on Wednesday. Don't upset him.
Oh, no.
I can't believe he's trying to upset Martin.
We rest a few players, and we went up there, and Sylvain Wiltard did the business for us, and won the league. And I wasn't there to enjoy the day.
Yeah. Well, Liverpool, as John says, won't worry. Now, listen to the other side of the story today. The inevitable, it was going to happen. It has now happened. Leicester lasted just one season, along with Southampton in the Premier League. They are relegated. Here's some reaction with Conor Coady.
Well, Conor, we now know that something that's felt inevitable for a while has happened, but do you at least have the sense that, I don't know, you as players can look in the mirror after the performance you've given today?
Listen, I think for the first part of your question, it's felt like listen, we've not been good enough all year. We haven't. We look at today, and I thought we played quite well today. I thought we moved the ball well. I thought we nullified Liverpool. Listen, Liverpool are a world-class side, but we look back on the season and it's not been anywhere near good enough from our point of view, from a club's point of view. But we've got to look at ourselves as players in the mirror, and we have to now. What's happened, and try and put this club in a better position come the summer. That's what we've got to try and do, because listen, we haven't been good enough. We've took a bit of stick, and we'll keep on taking stick because it's deserved so. Because, like I said, from minute one this season, we haven't been at a level to fully compete in the Premier League, and you need to be, because it'll eat you up and spit you out. So, not good enough, and listen, it's something we've got to look at because we're absolutely devastated. Yeah.
So, why have you not been good enough? Do you think? I know it's hard straight after. Why have you not been at the level?
I don't know. Listen, I can sit here and probably speak to you about it all day because I'm annoyed as anyone. I'll be honest. It's something that I've got all kinds of questions about. I'm a person and we're a team, and we have to be a team who look in the mirror. We have to be a team who look at ourselves and go, have we done enough this year in the Premier League? The answer is no. It's as simple as that. I think everyone as part of the club will say the same thing, and I think us as a club haven't done enough. It's simple as that. So we've got to now, what we've got left, 5 games I think it is, or whatever it is, we've got to try and put this club in the as best position it can, because that's the most important thing at the end of the day. Lads can't be looking at themselves, and you put this club in the best position as you can to have a good summer, to give yourself a chance to get back out of the league next year.
So how do you do that? How do you use these last few games to put the club in a slightly better position for what follows? How do you do that?
Performances, wins. We've got to win at some point. We have to win a game of football. It's as simple as that. We have not won enough game of football. That's why we're in the situation we're in. And like I said, it's putting the club first. It's putting the people at this football club first, because us as a team haven't been good enough. There are a whole host of factors why we haven't been good enough, but we haven't. So we've got to look at ourselves. So how we can do that is by playing well. I hate the thought as well of you get relegated and you start playing with freedom. That should never be the case. You play with freedom all season. But that's what we've got to do now. It's as simple as that. We've got to get a win. And like I said, it's 5 games to try and put this club in a position that it can go again in the summer.
Very honest assessment from Manu Noel. Conor Coady. Let's go back to the King Power. More from Emil with Manish.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. It was mentioned in the studio just a short while ago, Leicester City's 13th relegation from the top flight has been confirmed in the last hour. Will it go down as one of their most limp for you, Emil?
Yeah, I think so. When you look at the football that's been played, and especially when you've come up from the Championship and been so explosive, so fun to watch, and then watching what they actually perform, how they performed this season, and Conor Coady's been very honest in that interview there, saying that just hasn't been good enough. The players haven't performed well enough, and that showed.
Where has it gone wrong primarily for you?
I think recruitment is a huge thing. But you can only recruit if you're in a position to, especially as the business of football, in a position to actually spend their money. And the King Power brand has actually taken a little bit of hit with COVID, etc. And I think that's just been a knock-on effect for everything. So to come up from the Championship and not spend the money that needs to be, well, it's shown. Because the 3 teams that have gone up, was it been the last 3 seasons, have gone back down because they haven't been able to spend that money. They haven't really recruited in the right manner.
We saw a bit of fight against Brighton last weekend, and you have to say they hung on at times today against the champions-elect. Has Ruud given himself something finally to build upon with 5 to play, or is it just too little too late? I
think it's too little too late, really. When you look at it, I know they're saying, I think Conor Coady was talking about playing with a bit of freedom. You should be playing with that all the time. You should be going out expressing yourself. I know there's going to be pressure when coming on the pitch and the fans are going to be against you. But they have a right to do that. You've got to get them off their seat. You've got to get them cheering you. You've got to get them backing you. And they haven't done that this season.
And it feels like there's no real reason for this football club to dispense with Ruud van Nistelrooy until the end of the season. Now it's kind of been decided. But is he, for you, the right man to take them into the Championship and manage them on, to try and get another promotion back to the Premier League?
Well, the thing is, you're still going to get another manager in with the same players who've got to try and galvanise them and pick them up and play in a certain style. As you saw today, it looked better today. I felt that Liverpool huffed and puffed a little bit, and they couldn't really break them down. And it took an excellent moment from Trent to get the goal. Yeah. But I thought Leicester actually still in the game. Probably didn't create as many chances as they wanted to, but we've seen it time and time again. The chances that have been created against them has been high.
Emil, thanks very much indeed for coming. Really enjoyed it as always. I have to say, Steve, 5 games left, of course, of this Premier League season for Leicester City. But it's fair to say this coming summer is probably one of the biggest in this football club's history.
Yep, I will go along with that, Manish. Thank you very much indeed, gents, today. People will look back about change of managers. Didn't work for Southampton, of course, who've already gone. We should point out that when they sacked Steve Cooper, they weren't in the bottom 3. They weren't in the relegation zone. They were a point above it. In hindsight, do you think they might have done anything different? Or do you think they might have gone for a more experienced manager at Premier League level than Ruud van Nistelrooy?
It's so hard, isn't it? I mean, Steve Cooper was doing fine, but I think it was always hanging over his head, the Nottingham Forest link. So that was never helping him. And maybe they had ideas above what they were capable of. I mean, being out of the drop zone would have been incredible. If you had offered them, 16th place, 17th place before the season, they would have absolutely snapped your hand off. So it wasn't all bad, let's say. You take a risk with whatever manager you go for. I mean, listen, Claudio Ranieri took over and the Leicester fans were absolutely furious. They weren't happy with that and they went and won the league. You can never tell. You can never tell. Ruud van Nistelrooy could go on to be a really good manager. He's going to learn the hard way. He's had a baptism of fire this season. But we've seen now 2 years on the spin, 3 clubs come up, 3 clubs come down, 3 clubs come up again, 3 clubs come down. And not just gone down, they've been hammered, really. They've not even looked like... I mean, the 2 teams that were just above them last season were Everton and Nottingham Forest, also had points deductions. And they still went down. Yeah. So the gap is getting quite worrying now, I think, the difference between the Championship and the Premier League. And, Conor Coady is very honest and, it's not been good enough. But that's just the fact. They're not good enough players. They're just not a good enough team. It's simple as that. It's not, you can blame manager and blame why do they do that. They're not in the same class as these regular Premier League teams.
They couldn't have done any better. The thing about it really is say, where did it go wrong? Why weren't you good enough? Because when you look at the start of the season, you look at the teams before they've played a game, you say, where should we finish? You look at the salaries, you look at the money you've spent, you look at the size of the squad, you look at the team, and that is where they should be. Now, with a bit of luck and a bit of togetherness, they may finish 4th or 5th from bottom and stay up. And then maybe if they can do that for a couple of years, like Brentford, he can then push on. But when people are disappointed, yes, you're disappointed, but it was to be expected because they aren't good enough, and it's not their fault because the teams have now got better players than them. You look how Brighton have now stabilised themselves, so therefore they can buy a different quality of player, as can Brentford, as can Nottingham Forest. Whereas the teams who go up and come down, when they come up, they may have money to spend, but you're not going to be able to get better players than you've got or than the teams that you're playing against. And what you do, you could end up spending £100 million and not improving. So you spend money unless you actually
spend 148.
There you go, and look where they are. So it's difficult for the teams coming up, and the fans have to be realistic in terms of their expectations.
So when I was football director at Granada and we got relegated, we took the decision to start from there and start anew and prepare for the next season. We targeted players that we wanted to keep, vital to the squad. One particular player, centre forward, that we just about could afford. And it's all about prepare for me. And I spoke to the coach, and we took the decision to get a coach that was used to the league below. And we went with some with the experience to get teams up. We held on to that player, that signing. We got the experienced coach, but in the meantime, I told the coach that was acting to throw the kids in, throw all Leicester, start preparing now, Leicester City for the championship. Put the team out there that are going to be there next season. If you've got someone that's going to be there next season, put him in the team. Put the kid in. You saw the kid come on late on. Play him. Get them playing. Get them fighting, and prepare for next season.
Yeah, that's absolutely what you would do. There'll be players that they probably want to get rid of. And John touched on it before. The problem with a team like Leicester, they're yo-yoing. It's all right saying, oh yeah, we're going to get all this money to come in the Premier League, but if you're a decent player, who wants to go to a team that's just going to get beat virtually every week? I wouldn't want to go to Southampton. I wouldn't want to go to Leicester if I was a half-decent player. You'd be wanting to go to the Fulhams and the Brentfords or whatever. So it's all right having all these intentions, but it's so difficult. It's so difficult to spend that money, even if you've got it.
Absolutely. But Liverpool did eventually get over the line to mean they're one win away from popping those champagne corks. Let's hear from their manager. Here he is, Arne Slot.
Well, Arne, like for so much of this season, you had to fight, you had to scrap, and again, like for so much of the season, you found a way.
Yeah, and again, we created a lot of chances. Maybe this time even more than normally. And normally we're a bit better if we create chances that we score goals. But today, it took us a long time, and of course, a great moment for Trent after working so hard to come back. Being able to be with the squad and then come in and make the goal that makes a lot of difference is very special.
At the start of the game, I think Salah hit both posts in the third minute. Did you go from thinking, it's kind of a matter of time till we score, to as the game wears on, is it going to happen today?
No, I never felt it's not going to happen today because we kept creating chances. But you do know that if you play against a team that's almost relegated or very close to relegation, that it helps if you can kill the momentum immediately by scoring a goal. Hopefully find the second one immediately afterwards, and then it's normally an easy game for you. But if you don't score the first one and the stadium was sold out again because the league leaders come and they get a bit of momentum, they get a bit of belief for a result, then it gets more difficult and more difficult. That's why I was really happy and pleased with the second half where we created so many chances.
Yeah, and I know it's not done yet, but when you're in this situation, does every victory feel like a huge moment? Does every victory feel like a big step?
Yes, but it felt like big moments during the whole season. But of course, in the end, they seem to matter more because either you want to go to the Champions League if you are number 5 in the league, or if you're number 1 in the league, you want to stay in that position. You want to try to stay out of relegation. So in the end, it always feels that it's more important. But yeah, it was a good win, but with a lot of effort again.
Why does this team always find a way, do you think?
Because they just keep going. Mentally, they're really strong, and they just enjoy to play football. They enjoy to be out there trying to create, work very hard, not to concede, because I don't think, apart from the first half where they hit the post, they've created a lot. Maybe in extra time, one shot over quite high over the goal. So yeah, it's a bit of both. They enjoy playing football, and it always helps if you play for something special. Let's be honest.
Great to be able to turn to a player of Trent's quality. How special a moment was that? I mean, every question about him this season has really been about the contract. But forget that for a second. How good is he?
He's incredible. If he sets his mind to it. So I think if you play for such a long time at a club, there are always moments where you feel like, maybe again an away game where I've been so many times. But every time when moments really matter, so when he came in half an hour before the end against Newcastle, that's probably the best I've seen him play. And then against Paris Saint-Germain in the second half, where we really needed a goal, he stepped up. Unfortunately, he got injured in that game. And today, he knows when it matters most, he can just bring a bit more. And I think that is something only the top players have. And he has that definitely.
And those top players, as you say, you want to keep them. So can you see a way that he stays? It's felt for a while like that's been set on a path different to Virgil's and Mo Salah's. But can you see a way that he's doing magic things for Liverpool again next year?
I think my only good answer is to talk about his goal, because all the attention should go to his goal, the importance of his goal, the importance what he did for this club for so many years in a row, and even this season, this is my only season with him. And for him scoring a goal like this, all the headlines should be about him scoring this goal and not about his contract situation.
And again, all season long, you haven't wanted to dream, you haven't wanted to look too far ahead, but it's one game now. Yeah. It's one win. Is it harder and harder to hold back those dreams?
No, it's never hard to dream, but I think it's also clear that you saw this today as well, that we are really focused on playing. The boys deserve to have a day off, and hopefully they're going to enjoy that. And then when we're back together, it's full focus on Tottenham. And looking forward again to a home game. Probably the stadium will be full.
I'd have said it might be, yeah.
So it's a nice game to look forward to, but we have to focus on Tottenham, which we've played already 3 times this season, I think, and it's every time they've made a real competitive game for us. So we know what to expect, and we know we have to be ready.
Okay. So we'll see you at Anfield next week.
See you next week.
Thanks, Arne. All the best to you.
Where, remember, if Crystal Palace win on Wednesday, they will already be champions. If Palace don't, then they'll have the opportunity to beat Spurs on Sunday and be crowned champions. It's interesting to hear him describing how they always find a way. They've won 24 games this season, and 9 of them, John, by 1 goal. Yeah. There's been games where you think, Liverpool going to get over the line here, and they continually seem to do it.
The character of the players. That's what Jurgen Klopp prioritised when he came. The character of the players. Yes, they're good players, but I remember when Salah came, Firmino came, all of these players. I don't remember Real Madrid, Barcelona, all these teams wanting them. But he looked at the character of those players, and when you have players of character like that, when things may not be going well, you can still get a result. So they haven't played sparkling football for the whole season, but they get the job done, and that's really down to them. They haven't got better players than Manchester United, but the character is so important that when things, not that it was going wrong, but when all of a sudden, maybe you think, are we going to score, are we going to continue? And they find a way because of the character of the players.
How much can that togetherness and spirit count to win a title, Tony?
Everything's clicked for them. Every player's has performed to their maximum, and you've got a great squad there, and they've all, like I say, they've all clicked. I love Gravenberch. I don't think we've spoke about him enough, to be honest with you. He's a bit like Declan Rice has been for the Arsenal for us. That player, he's so vital. We had every squad that I've ever won a title with, I've had a player in there that's motivated the team, been there week in, week out defensively. Patrick Vieira, I go Manu Petit, invisible screen of Silvinho, whatever his name was, Silva. It's so important to have that player in there, and he's just been brought into this team, and he's played there for years. Absolutely years.
And he's flourished he wouldn't have played that position under Jurgen.
No.
Because Jurgen wants the Hendersons, the Milners, the Fabinhos, whereas he likes technical players. So therefore you've seen Curtis Jones in that position as well, who will also play in that position. So the biggest testament I can give to Arne Slot is that he's changed the way they've played in possession, in being much more controlled and much more technical. However, out of possession, they still work very hard. And as I said, it's so much to do with the character of the players. They've decided that Jurgen's gone, but the new manager coming in, we're going to do what he says. You've seen when other managers have come into clubs, the players have kind of down tools when an iconic manager leaves, but these players have said, regardless of whether we believe him or not, because I was with them in pre-season in America, and he was changing a lot of stuff, working them hard. They were kind of complaining a little bit about the change, but they did it. And that's what you want from your players. Follow the manager's instructions, which they've done to the team.
Just on Tony's point with Gravenberch, you get sliding doors moments sometimes. Obviously, if Zubimendi had signed, who knows where and how much Ryan Gravenberch would have played, but he didn't, and Slot put him in that role, and we're all talking about him now.
Well, from Gravenberch's point of view, yeah, he you could say he's got lucky, but he's also grasped his chance. Zubimendi signed, then you've still got no doubts they probably still would have won the league, and he would have been a great signing, I guess. Because I do think that when you get a group, a collective that are good characters, are good players, then the ones that aren't necessarily, or the ones that are, they all get swept along, and you conform, and so. It shows all the time at every different club at the moment. If you've got a bad team or a bad set of characters or a bad group, I don't care who you sign. You can sign 2 or 3 players; they'll turn average as well very soon. If the crux of it, if the squad is not a good one. So I believe when that's the case, especially let's say at Liverpool, whoever you bring. They'll bring them along, because if you go
fall
back,
into line
they
with what's
fall
going
into
on.
line.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And if there's disharmony, you'll fall into that line.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, because if you go back when Jurgen Klopp first started, if you looked at the team, there were so many average players, but there was a group of them that really led the way. And all these players that you're thinking, are they going to, people like Milner and Henderson and Roberts, they were never world-class players. People used to say, you need to replace him. He's never going to be the next Steven Gerrard. He's never going to be...
Henderson got terrible stick,
and then they've all
the fans have forgotten that. I speak to fans, I said, when he first came, they go, no, we weren't, but that was a reality.
John, there was so many players in that Liverpool team that you would never in a million years say they're going to reach these heights. And it's just when you get that good group, when you get that leadership within, when you've got a good group, then it just sweeps the whole lot along with you. And Liverpool have got that at the moment. And and everybody says, what's the matter with Manchester United, let's say. That's quite the opposite. I don't care whether you go and sign Ronaldo, Messi, whoever. And they're good. There's a lot of good players there, but they just can't do it. And Liverpool are quite the opposite.
Michael, the depth of quality. Robertson didn't even play today. You've got Conor Bradley, Trent. We're talking about same positions. The levels of quality in their squad is.
Yeah, it's incredible. But Michael's right in terms when he said we'd get swept away with it, because if you look at those individual players, and you've actually found out with the players that have left. If you look at Henderson, you look at not so much Milner, who's hardly played. Look at Wijnaldum. You look at Mane, they've gone to other clubs and they've not done it. They've not done it because I don't see these Liverpool players as being individual superstar players to go to these clubs and be superstars at other clubs. They just suited the Liverpool family, if you like. And when they've gone away from that, which is why you look at if Mo or Virgil or if even Trent goes, you've got to be careful of what you wish for, thinking it's going to be exactly the same at Liverpool. It may not be.
And how incredible, because when we just use the Manchester United example, quite the opposite. When players are now leaving Manchester United, the McTominays, all these different... Rashford, everyone's all of a sudden, wow, they are good.
Even Anthony.
Loads of them. You could list and list. So it's quite incredible. The ones that leave Liverpool probably drop off a little bit. The ones that leave Manchester, and it just shows you that it's like it's a culture, it's a group, it's a leadership, it's an attitude, it's something that you can't really put your finger on.
It's a fascinating subject because a lot of fans who would be watching this or watch week in, week out just think, get the best players, get them on the pitch together.
But character, look at the attitude.
But you've all won titles and that isn't the case.
Yeah. They've had great players who could never played for Liverpool, no matter how good you are because of the character. And you've had players who you would think aren't great players.
You were there 10 years. Did you play with great players who signed, but that shirt was just too heavy for them? The club was too big for them.
In the later part of my career, yes, not in the early part of my career, because Liverpool always looked at the character of the players. I played for 6 years at the Arsenal before. Towards the end, yes, because of course once the Premier League started and a lot of clubs started to get lots of money, you just kept signing players. They signed 5 or 6 players, whereas Liverpool didn't do that. They signed 1 or 2, looked at the character for a while. Whereas when you have a lot of money, as a lot of these clubs are tempted to do, and you come up Leicester, we've got to spend money. Spend money because we've got it, and that's not the solution. How much money has Chelsea spent?
£1 billion.
That's not the solution.
I always had to look, Steve Rowley, the great scout at Arsenal, and even Harry, you have to go and meet the player and look in, and the first requirement was attitude. That's what he took. Whatever technical ability is kind of immaterial. He was going, you are going to be one of our players, look into their eyes, and that's he signed them, He signed one particular player and he shook his hand and he went, I've made a mistake here. You know what I mean? You instantly knew that he wasn't a team player. And that's what we're talking about. It makes us different. You know, football is a team game. You need your mates, you need the Virgils, the forwards, the midfield players all pulling together. You can't win it on your own.
And then you can have, I mean, you look at Tsimikas. I mean, when Andy Robertson first came, you don't need 11 superstars, whereas a lot of clubs feel you've got to sign great players. If you look at Liverpool's team, they have good players. And for me, Paris Saint-Germain is a typical example of that. You know, when they had the Messis and the Mbappes and, you know, Neymars, and all of a sudden, look at that team with the Ecuadorian left-back and the Venezuelan centre-back, and you've got Vitinha in midfield, and you're thinking, where are the superstars? Dembele came from Barcelona, was a fair, and look at them now. And I think a lot of clubs are now going back to looking at the character of players rather than thinking, let's just sign great superstar players.
And just to round off on Arne Slot, I mean, it's a talent in itself. Changing a few things, as John says, pre-season, but not wholesale changes from what he inherited. That's a big talent in it.
The temptation to change everything when you come in as a manager must be great, but he's made minimal changes. As John mentioned, a couple of little tweaks to the team, a lot more controlled in possession, brought Gavin Burke into him. But apart from that, he's hardly changed anything. It was a winning machine anyway. You didn't really need to. So I think that's one of his biggest ticks, is that he hasn't come in and thought, I need to change everything.
Gentlemen, thanks for your company as always. Michael, John and Tony. Liverpool, 3 more points maximum courtesy today from one of their own with a crucial goal. See you soon.